The reality is that with, regardless of your political affiliations, with the Democrats getting into power in the United States, they are pushing the green agenda, and lots of green tech, clean tech stocks like Airtest are getting a lot more visibility and a lot more interest.
Welcome to NAI500's CEO Interview Series, where we interview the CEOs of the most exciting investment opportunities in the market today. Today, we're sitting down with Ted Coney, CEO of ATI Airtest Technologies Incorporated, ticker symbol AAT, in the TSX Venture Exchange. We last sat down with Ted in late 2020, and since then, we've seen Airtest pick up a lot of interest from investors in the first 2 months of 2021. Since December, the company's stock price has almost doubled from 8 cents to 16 cents, and trading volumes have increased to the hundreds of thousands on a daily basis. Let's hear the latest updates on Airtest. Hi, Ted. How's it going?
Hey, Philip. It's going great. Thanks for checking in with me again.
Now, it's been a couple of months since we last checked in with Airtest. Since then, you've taken the reins as the CEO of the company, while longtime CEO George Graham is now the president of the company. What does this change mean for the company moving forward?
Well, Philip, I think that the big thing here is that this company has a huge opportunity in front of it. And where George Graham has focused almost entirely all of his energy and time on the running of the business and has had very little time and energy to focus on the public markets, we now need to really do that. And so being that I've been an investor in the company for over 10 years, I've brought a lot of shareholders to the company. I feel like it's a bit of a division of labor that George can now focus and continue to focus a lot of his time and energy on the building of the business. And my responsibility is going to be more as far as the public facing, market facing, if you will, of the company. And so in that extent, I've got a lot of history in that. I've got a lot of success in that. And I think I can bring more eyeballs to this business because it's got an opportunity to grow massively.
So tell us about Airtest's strategy for Q2 2021 and beyond.
So again, I hinted at it in the first response, but we've got an opportunity from two perspectives now. Times have changed, life has changed, right? We've been suffering through a pandemic for the last year. That's created another opportunity for Airtest, in addition to the fact that they've got a business in the demand control ventilation space. Essentially, they're an IoT company with sensors that sense whether it's CO2 or carbon monoxide, specifically for purposes of energy efficiency. In other words, you have to understand how much ventilation there is in a space so that you can properly manage it. And what I mean by that is, of course, reducing the amount of overventilation. Now, in the new environment that we're in, more and more public spaces, including schools and hospitals and stores and so on, want to know, what is the ventilation and am I safe? Is there going to be something in the air that I'm going to contract, right? So, for instance, California has now mandated that there be CO2 sensors in every classroom. And I think this is going to be prevalent now across the board. So the opportunity that Airtest faces right now is the opportunity to not only expand its business on the wireless component, which is really a huge retrofit opportunity where the penetration of wireless CO2 is, or pardon me, even CO2 is maybe 20%. Now it's also a function of all of these places that want to understand, do they have proper ventilation? And CO2 sensors are the way to understand whether there's proper ventilation or not.
Following that, we've seen your trading volumes increase significantly over the past month. So what have you been doing to get more visibility for the stock?
Great question, Philip. The reality is that very, very few people, particularly investors, knew anything about this little company called Airtest. And it hasn't taken a lot of effort to get, some amount of exposure. Now, I'm working with some really good people. We announced publicly we're working with the Howard Group. I've known the Howard Group for years. I've known Grant Howard and his team. They're very professional in what they do, and they're going to create some great exposure for the company in the financial markets. I've been talking to lots of analysts over the last 3 months. People like Chris Temple, who writes the National Investor, has made his audience aware of Airtest. We've been working with people at Streetwise Reports to create some awareness. And of course, working with you guys at NAI500 has helped as well. So I think all of those factors have led to far more visibility for the company. The other thing, of course, is that in the period of time since I really got more involved as a strategic consultant back in August of last year, there's now a new green tailwind. The reality is that with, regardless of your political affiliations, with the Democrats getting into power in the United States, they are pushing the green agenda, and lots of green tech, clean tech stocks like Airtest are getting a lot more visibility and a lot more interest. And I think that that's what's creating the added volume and share price appreciation.
Sure. And we also saw a press release today saying that you're arranging a $1 million private placement. What does this $1 million mean for the business, and what are the use of proceeds?
Well, okay, so $1 million for any small company, I mean, capital is its lifeblood. In order to grow, you need to advance things like some amount of R&D that is still going on with the company. But probably as important as anything else, it's inventory. We've had situations already occur to us in the last year where we may have been able to fill an order, except for the fact that we lacked enough inventory and they needed that inventory immediately. They wanted to fill that in that order immediately. So inventory is a big thing. We need to really stock up on some of the things that we think we can really push out. And as I said earlier, CO2 sensors seem to really be coming into their own. So working capital, general working capital, some amount for R&D, some amount for inventory. We also plan, we've added to our sales team. We plan to continue adding to our sales team. And of course, it takes some certain amount of capital to do that. Salespeople aren't necessarily going to be immediately generating profitability for the company. So you need to invest in them over a period of 3 to 6 months to get them to get started and start generating some sales volume.
And my last question revolves around a report released by Bain & Company over the last couple of days, saying that institutional investors, especially private equity investors, are looking more towards investing into ESG type companies. Do you have any comment on that, and especially with this raise coming up?
Absolutely. So ESG, of course, is of interest from both perspectives, from the perspective of people wanting to invest in ESG and companies, large companies wanting to improve their environmental sustainability governance that are involved in the ESG side of things. So you've got the market side, which is all the companies that are looking now to find ways to improve their sustainability through energy efficiency, which in fact, that's what we're providing, as well as investors wanting to participate in that whole space because of this whole push for moving to net zero.
Great. Thank you very much, Ted.
Thanks for checking in, and look forward to our next update.
Please like our video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to help us get more cutting-edge stock coverage to the market.